can see it's preparing now.
Great.
And we are live. Oh, guys, that was something. We were trying out a new thing today with the securities of Facebook, and I'm so happy that we have succeeded. That is my guest there on the screen, and that is Pauline Mbogwa. Pauline, if you could wave to the audience.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Pauline. Well, Pauline is here today to share with us. However, I'm going to jump into what we're talking about today, which is empowering our children, the power of the vision. So a life without a vision is suicidal, to say the least. You are like a rudderless ship, and I'm sure you all understand what that means. So wherever the winds and the waves will take you, that is where you will go. You will follow the winds and the waves because you don't have a vision. In fact, you will fall for anything, and that is so dangerous. But worse still is that you will live somebody else's life. And that is a fallacy. That is so sad. I mean, Pauline, what do you think about that? Living somebody else's life because you do not have a vision.
A very, very sad situation indeed, Lucy. And, it's something that shouldn't happen to anybody, because at the end of your life, then it will be a life of regret.
Yes. So here we are living somebody else's life because we don't have a vision. In one of my sessions, I train about you being a creator of your life, not a witness or a victim. Because when you're a creator, you're able to do something like the power of vision. I'm really looking forward to what Pauline has to share with us, because we don't want to be witnesses or victims of life. We want to be able to be the creators. Well, talking about empowerment of children, it is how we help the children realize the potential within them. And you may ask, how do we do that? You're already doing it. It's just that you need to be intentional about it. The children develop confidence in their abilities because empowerment builds resilience. And as they go into adulthood, they're able to integrate into the society. I mean, look at your life and what happened to you. The instances, the occasions, the experiences when you were younger are the ones that have formed the person that you are today. So whether you are a happy, excited, angry, anxious person, all this is coming as a result of your conditioning when you were young. So this is the time for us to empower children, especially now that they're at home. And this is why LMC Consultancy is bringing you this session during this holiday season. So we are still talking about empowerment of our children, building resilience. The children are able to draw from self. They draw from self. That means their cup needs to be full. It is you who's filling up that cup. So they can draw from self to meet the challenges thrown at them in life. It is unfortunate, and I'm sure Pauline is going to be taking us through this. It is unfortunate that we have children out there who have empty cups because there's no adult who has intentionally set out to fill it up. If that is you today, if you have gone through life and not for 1 minute considered to empower your child, there's always a place to start, and there's no better time like now. The children are also aware of their values, strengths, and weaknesses. And as a result, they're able to plug into the society, which is so important. So today we seek to look at the importance of empowering our children to have a vision, So the questions are very simple. How have you steered your children? Is it perhaps through example? Pauline, I believe that children are always watching and learning. What do you think about that?
It's very, very true. They actually just copy exactly what you do. And the unfortunate thing, Lucy, just as you are introducing, when you become a parent,
yes,
many times we are not equipped. You just have a child and now you learn on the job. You're not taken to a course.
Isn't that true?
On how to bring up this child. So
yes,
you learn on the job.
Yes. And learning on the job is not an easy thing because
easy.
There's no, there's no manual.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's no manual, you are pulling up on what you know.
Yes.
And you have to trust self. I mean, last week we had a very robust conversation as to you as a parent are enough. So whatever it is you're going to impact on your children, it is enough. It is enough. Okay, I'm just trying to see who has logged in. I'm looking at my Facebook and seeing, let's see. Okay. Yes, I can already see we have some people who have come in. And guys, we would love for you to share with us your stories. You know, how have you steered your children? Is it perhaps through example? Because our children are always watching us. Share with us what you have done. I can see you right there, and I'm so grateful that you have joined us today. I'm loving the fact that you are still here 3 sessions later to be able to help us empower the children. So please just engage with us and tell us how you have steered your children so that we can help to build each other. I'll just give us a moment, and hopefully we will have more people logging in. Let's see, because I'd like us to go together, guys. What Pauline is about to share with us is very profound. Okay. All right, well, nothing yet. So I do believe that you are listening and you are forming your questions, forming your sharing, which is important, and that we will be hearing from you. So whenever you see me looking down, I'm not ignoring you. I am actually looking at the Facebook, the stream, and trying to understand what it is that you're sharing with us so that we can share with everybody also. So nothing yet, but nothing to worry about. So kindly, how have you steered your children? Is it perhaps through example? How are you living your life? Our children are always watching and learning. What is it that they're seeing from you that they're able to emulate? Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a platform for women to help one another in our daily journey as we go through the sphere of life. Because for us, life is just around. It keeps on coming back. My name is Lucy Macridis. I'm the founder of LMC Consultancy and an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. I am a certified life coach. I'm a clarity coach. I'm a mentor, and I'm an online facilitator. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be part of our broadcast. And the question that we are looking today is, as we seek to see the importance of empowering our children with a vision, I just want to know, how are you steering your children? How do you continue to do this, no matter what age they're at? Although right now we are talking about the younger children, but how have you done this? Yeah. So LMC services right now are running the school program called The Lady in Waiting. This is for teenage girls from preteen 12 years through to 18. We give you 6 days of 12 hours of 6 workbooks. Join us. The information is actually on our Facebook page. We have one running right now. So we're going to have the next one running soon, and you will see the updates. Group life coaching, the April cohort is almost coming to an end at the end of the month. And we would love to have some of you on for the May one. We learn a lot of things there. We'll have a lot of fun. In fact, I learned so much by the end of the day. And then there's my signature Awakening Self program. And this program takes you through 5 sessions where we give you 5 tools to be able to awaken self. The next session, we've just finished our April session. The May session runs from the 10th to the 14th of May, and we will be posting those details. So what makes me an expert? Well, for me, like everybody, COVID happened. And when COVID happened, we had to rethink this journey. So I found that my purpose remained the same. I am from the hospitality industry, and I love to help building one another. That's what I do. So I had to rethink this journey because my purpose remained the same. My vision remained the same, but my journey had to change. I had to rethink and re-strategize. And this gave birth to me being a co-author of a book called footprints, wealth footprints. And this book will be coming out hopefully in the next 2 months is when it will be published. And Pauline is a co-author with me. Pauline, tell us.
Yeah, it's one of the most exciting projects in our lives. The women coming together to tell different stories that will inspire the women of the world, not just Kenya and Africa, but the world.
So true. And we are loving it because it is continuing. It is live. It is live. So thank you so much. Yes, I found my voice. I'm owning my voice and I'm on the journey of embracing my voice. So I invite you all to be part of this. Like our page for an opportunity to be part of our journeys. And at the end of the day, share your story so that we can help to build one another. So Pauline, we are here and we want to talk more about the things that we are doing. And it is so important that as we discuss what we are doing on the empowering of children and looking at the power of vision that we ourselves already understand. So Pauline is here and she will be sharing with us. Pauline, you're a mentor and a founder of the power of vision for the next generation. Yes. Her vision for the next 2 years is to empower and inspire 1 million people. 1 million people, amazing, so that they can draw a personal vision for their lives and that they can live a life full of purpose. That's amazing. And and especially close to your heart are the young people and the teenagers. Isn't this amazing, Pauline? Yeah. But as we speak about that, what is the power of vision for the next generation all about? You know, we're going on about this power of vision. Tell us a bit more, Pauline, and I'll be sampling the questions on the live.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy. And thank you even for the introduction, for this platform. You're transforming lives through this platform. Yes. So Lucy and our listeners, the Power of Vision is a mentorship program, as you've put it, for the next generation. And in this mentorship program, our guiding verse from the Bible is Proverbs 29, verse 18. And I'm sure most people here know it. It says,
Proverbs
without
29,
a wish, Proverbs 29, verse 18.
Okay, I'm writing down this, and I hope, guys, you are also writing this down.
Yes, and this verse says, without a vision, people perish. This is God's word, and it's telling us that without a vision, people perish.
Without a vision, people perish.
Yeah, so what was the motivating factor to starting this power of vision, the mentorship program? It's actually that verse. When you read that verse and then you look at the state our children are in, and you want to help them get a vision so that they do not perish. Lucy, the other thing maybe I need to tell our listeners is I'm very passionate about teaching children. I've been, guiding them because I believe this is the greatest thing one can do with their lives, inspiring and guiding the next generation that will take up after us and setting them on the right path, and especially also the right path according to God's word and God's purpose for their lives. So I have been teaching children on a voluntary basis for the last about 14 years now in my life. It's something I love. It's the climax of my life in my church, and also for about 15 years in one of the school programs for one of the global Bible study organizations. And it's something I really enjoy. It gives meaning to my life. Then I'm also in the corporate world. I have been blessed with about 20 years working experience in the corporate world. And one thing that really stood out for me, Lucy, is that when you look at the corporate world, they know the value of strategic planning and vision.
Yes, you're speaking my language.
Yes, every organization you know of, and I would like our listeners to maybe even just put in the comments and tell us, any organization worth its salt has a strategic plan, and at the top of that strategic plan is the vision of that organization for the next 5 years. And that vision is what guides that organization. And anything that organization does is actually guided by that vision. And the strategic planning process is taken very seriously. The board of directors, the top management, they'll sit in a place, even maybe go to Naivasha, out of the office for even 5 days to craft the strategic plan and the vision that is going to guide that organization for the next 5 years. Even our own country, Lucy, has a Vision 2030, remember? Yeah,
It
the
has
bank.
2030,
Yeah.
yes. What
And
we keep
I would
on talking about.
Yes, I would like our listeners to actually confirm, even the company you work for has a vision. The church you go to has a vision. The school your children go to has a vision. Any organization worth its salt knows the power of vision in attaining their goals for their existence. Now, the only unfortunate thing I have noted over the years, Lucy, for majority of people, we have no clue what a personal vision is. We do not even have one. And yet, remember, as you've said at the beginning, we are supposed to be guiding the next generation.
Yes.
So if we don't have a personal vision to guide us, then how will we guide the next generation? And there's also another verse I love in the Bible, Psalm 20, verse 4, because, some people think really planning my life and having a vision, I just need to trust God and things will flow. Psalm 20, verse 4 tells us, may God bless the desires of your heart and make all your plans succeed. So God expects us to plan. And God expects us to have this vision so that we don't perish. And so for me, I think, Lucy, that was the main motivating factor, because I realized that a young person who is well equipped with a vision for their lives will be able to navigate the very complicated stage of life that they go through, the teenage years, the young adult age, very challenging stage, but a teenager or a young person with a vision is able to navigate that stage successfully, because a vision creates direction and also boundaries for their lives. So that was the whole idea of coming up with this mentorship program of the power of vision for the next generation.
Wow, that is something. I'm actually not seeing it rolling here. There's only so far. I'm trying to see why we're not getting any comments. And I really think perhaps that today our stream is not working the way we would like it to work. So Pauline, we will continue, and I will also try my best to get the stream going. Hopefully it shall work. So we will continue with our message. You have talked about that second verse, which is Psalm 20, verse 40.
Verse 4, Lucy.
Verse 4. What I want to say about that is that God ensures that these messages are repeated through the Bible. Because once they're repeated, especially for us who are reading the Bible, every time you go to a different book, there will be a message towards that. And it is so important that we understand even God has plans. He has plans. And it's interesting that next week we will be looking at the spirituality and how to empower our children. However, today, we are on about the power of the vision, and we are good to see that we have been directed from the Bible. As we think about it, Pauline, there are some benefits to this power of the vision, as you have mentioned. But then you're talking about corporate.
Yes.
That's the corporate world, yeah?
Yes.
Here we're talking about children, and we're talking about being the ones who are going to impart this kind of knowledge so they know how to work on the power of vision. What are the benefits and what are the challenges that you envisage happening, Pauline?
Okay, thank you.
I'm writing down, so every time I disappear, I'm busy writing down what it is you're saying.
Okay, so thank you, Lucy. One of the things, and I would like our listeners to actually confirm this. There's a very sad quote somebody shared with me the other day, and I was like, wow, how true is that? And it really gave me food for thought.
Yes.
And the quote was something to this effect, that the sad fact of life is that many of the consequences of errors made during teenage and young, during those young age, or errors made during teenage years lasts a lifetime.
Just say that again.
The sad fact of life is that many of the consequences of errors made during teenage years lasts a lifetime. And I thought, how true. A child makes a mistake because they are going through this teenage age. They haven't had somebody who has directed them in the right path, and they make a mistake, and that mistake lives with them until they are 73, 75. They are still suffering the consequences of that mistake. And I thought this is a very sad fact of life. And I think, Lucy, for us as adults, as mothers, it's our responsibility to make sure with any child God has placed within our, within our area of influence, we need to, it is actually our responsibility to guide them, because any mistake they make is a mistake that will last for the next 50 years in their lives. So I think for me, that is one of the things that really motivates me to just try and make a difference in the young people, because you can make a mistake that you live with for the next 50 years. And
before you go ahead, I mean, that statement that you have made, that many of the consequences of errors made during the teenage age, they last a lifetime. And you can already have a flashback to your life and the things that you did, perhaps in the best of interest, but then they didn't work out the way they were supposed to work out. And how today they're prevalent in your life, where there's a lot of challenges going through. And this can be very profound in you moving forward. Now, in one of the sessions that I run, I do something called limiting beliefs. And because of the experiences in your life, Pauline, you tend then to set up some sort of belief structure in your life, and you never challenge it. Because these things either happen to you by people speaking to you, experiences that you have had. I mean, think of a teenager in school today, going to school, and what they're doing is filling their cup with what the teachers are telling them. And whatever experience happens there shapes their future. Then they come home and they have this experience with their parents or their guardians. And whatever happens there, again, it is about impacting their future. And then they watch TV and they read the newspaper. And again, whatever they read, which they can read over and over. And unfortunately, when you're reading something over and over and something is repeated, in your mind, there's no doubt that it is the absolute truth, because it has been reaffirmed and reaffirmed. So certain decisions can be made as a result of where we find ourselves as the youth. And therefore, I love the way you have put it up, that the consequences, they last a lifetime. They do. And I really would love for people to share with us what it is that they would like to bring to the table that we can discuss even further. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. So you will find that a young person without a personal vision actually lives without any constraints. Because without a vision, it's tough to refuse things that are offered to you. As long as something looks like fun, your game. Because life then is an experiment. It's just a confusing experiment that you're doing because you have nothing guiding you. So you're just trying out what will work, what will not work, what will lead you where. And this kind of living without any direction for a young person is very dangerous. And that is why, Lucy, I was actually saying there are some statistics we have right here in Kenya, which when you look at them, they are very, very scary. What our young people are facing at the moment.
Oh, great. I would love you to share those statistics with us. So at least you know where numbers are supporting a theory. then it carries more weight. What kind of
Mhm.
statistics are you talking about that will help us to understand the errors that we make or that our children can make that we need to be aware of? Shall I say? Yeah, aware
Yes.
of. Yes.
Yeah, just to cite a few, Lucy, because of time, maybe for our listeners. The first one is data from the demographics and health surveys in Kenya. You can, our listeners can actually check it out online. This was done in 2019, and it shows that 2 out of 10 girls between the ages of 15 and 19 years fall into teenage pregnancy. So that is 20% of our girls.
Yes.
That is per annual.
Yes.
And by the way, this is the average for the years 2014 to 2019. During the COVID lockdown, we all saw it on TV. The statistics increased, and it was actually 40% of our girls, of our children, And what does this do? It deprives our young girls the opportunity to further their education, and also their careers. And of course, this exposes them to a life of a cycle of poverty, unless something is done to intervene. There's also some statistics from the World Health Organization that shows that pregnancy and childbirth complications are the leading cause of death among girls aged
pregnancy. You said pregnancy?
Pregnancy and childbirth complications are the leading cause of death among girls aged 15 to 19. That is globally. And that is a World Health report of January 2020. So you see, it's not just a matter of them dropping out of school, not pursuing a career, it's even a risk to their lives.
Yes.
And then maybe let me just share the statistics, then we see what are some of how power of vision how a person of vision can help these children.
Yes.
The next statistics, Lucy, is from NACADA. We all know NACADA, National Authority for the Campaign Against Children and Drug Abuse.
Yes.
They did a study in 2019 on primary school pupils in Nairobi. And that study, when you look at that report, again, listeners can check online. They found that alcohol, 36.3% of primary school students in Nairobi are abusing alcohol.
How many percent, Pauline?
36% of the primary school. Imagine, these are children below 14 years. 31% of them have abused Mira or cat, which is a drug. 20% of them are using cigarettes. And bangi, 9.8%, that is very close to 10%, have used bangi many times. And 3%, Lucy, have abused heroin. We are talking of primary school. We are talking of our babies. These are babies.
That is very distressing. Those statistics are very
and we have all seen the horrible effects of drug abuse, even on families and on this child. Okay. So when you look at such a report, as mothers, as parents, we have to do something to guide these children. The last thing, Lucy, is about the rate of depression and suicide among young people and teenagers. And I believe maybe the first two things we've talked about, the early pregnancy and the drug use, could actually be contributing to the depression and a lot of suicide cases among teenagers. And we've all seen it in the papers. And you can imagine the pain of losing a teenager, a child who has a whole life ahead of them. So for me, Lucy, some of these statistics actually point to children not having a personal vision that can guide them in their lives. Because without a vision, people perish. And I believe the lack of a vision could be making our children, the children of Kenya, perish. Yeah.
Wow, the lack of a vision. The lack of a vision will make our children perish.
Yes.
Wow, that is so distressing just listening to those statistics and knowing that even though these statistics are there, we as adults are not able to consume it. We don't know where these statistics are unless perhaps we are in education, perhaps we're in counseling for this thing to come to us. And I always believe that there's so many ways to skin a cat. And for those of you who are joining us right now, we are talking about trying to understand the importance of empowering our children to have a vision. And the question that I have posted on the chat is, how have you steered your children? Pauline has gone ahead, and Pauline is a founder of the Power of Vision for the Next Generation. Pauline has actually gone ahead and given us some very distressing statistics. I mean, I was hoping I was writing them fast enough. 20% of teenage girls are either pregnant or have had childbirth complication. 36% of the primary school children are abusing alcohol. And now as we talk rate of depression, I mean, we already know in Nairobi, the suicide levels are on the increase. What kind of statistics do you have, if any, Pauline?
On the suicide cases, we don't have statistics as such, because I believe these are children, so maybe the government hasn't released that kind of statistics. But we just have, even from the newspapers, actually citing that it has hit a 10-year high. That's for the last 10 years, we're actually seeing the highest level. But there are no statistics. I tried to check that. I haven't found any statistics from the government to give the numbers. Yeah.
Wow, it really stops you dead in your tracks when you think about how our children are like rudderless ships, because they're going into this, like you mentioned earlier on, Pauline, it could be peer pressure. Somebody is doing it, and if I just add, you have FOMO, which is fear of missing out, or you want to be liked for whatever reason it is that your child then joins this bandwagon. It could easily be something like there's no one at home who is showing care or interest in what is happening in a child's life. And I draw this example from times when I have had to deal with children, and maybe children who've come to visit my home when I had little ones, and the kind of conversations that you would have, and this child would actually ask my son or my daughter, "You mean your parents sit down and talk to you about such things?" You know, and that just tells you that somebody somewhere is hungering, is thirsting for this kind of interaction with a parent. So what are we doing as parents? And I ask that question again. How are you steering your children? How are you steering your children? Are you intentional about it? If it hasn't happened before, guys, it's not the end of the world. Start today. Start today. Come into their lives and intentionally lay out authentic conversations, because even last week we were talking about being a human for your child, so your child can see that you do make mistakes. So if these young people, where we are seeing startling statistics like these ones, are feeling that even if I join this, my parents couldn't care less. They're busy working so hard to ensure that I'm in the best school, or that I have a roof over my head, vis-a-vis the other child who's coming from another home where the parents have intentionally made time to sit with them. You know, I'm not saying that we will have a perfect child out of one of those groups. What I'm saying is, have you empowered your children to create a vision? And that is how I'm looking at what you have brought together for us, Pauline. The children are facing challenges. How can we mitigate these challenges? What do we need to do as parents? So for those of you who are watching, I do hope that the stream is working right now. We seem to be having challenges, technical challenges with the stream today, but just drop it there and we will be able to sample this once we go offline. And Pauline, if I could request you, please, once we are done with this broadcast, if you could visit our Facebook page and just answer and give insights, because I can actually see that we are having a challenge getting the viewers on board. I'm not sure what is happening with the connection. Will you be okay doing that with us?
That's fine. That's fine, Lucy. I am very happy to do this. If it will help any child, very happy to do it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And definitely it is about helping our children, helping that next generation as they face challenges in life. Because, you know, Pauline, we have seen suicide rates because they face challenges in life. In your opinion, why would a child commit suicide because of a challenge in life?
I think, Lucy, that must be one of the saddest thing in life. Most likely, maybe this child feels there is no one in this world that they can turn, no one they can turn to for help. And I think that can be a very sad situation. And that's why, Lucy, just as you said at the beginning, I keep also emphasizing, even to our listeners, to the people I talk to, don't just think of my 2 children. Think of all the children who, you know, the children in your life. God has brought them there for a purpose. Your nieces, your nephews, the children you interact with in the neighborhood, in church. So I think our responsibility is not just to our own biological children, because your children then will interact with the other. They need the other children in their lives. And it would be better if we are able to influence their generation so that they are growing up in a safer place. So I think for me, such children, maybe that child doesn't feel there's anybody in life that would understand the problem they're going through. And I think that is a very, very sad thing. Because even when we look back at our lives, Lucy, like our teachers really, did so much to build our lives. Everybody has a special teacher who said one thing or encouraged you, or you had a problem, you went to them, and that made the difference in your life. So let's be those kind of people in today's children's lives.
Yes, so true. I mean, we couldn't have put it. So this child is perhaps feeling alone. Yet, all of us have gone through these challenges in life. And I'm going back to this, Pauline, because as a parent, you were once a child. And therefore, there are things that you experience, the challenges. Yes, it was a different season, a different time. And today, the challenges are something like social media. When I do the Lady in Waiting program, there's a challenges these girls tell me about social media, that nobody likes us. Nobody cares to post on my social media. You see, that challenge is the same that I had as a 16-year-old. Only that time, I did not have the technology of a mobile phone to be able to be on the social media platforms. So the challenges will remain the same. They will only be bigger or smaller depending on the situation the child is going through. So parents, I'm encouraging you, don't feel that you're not enough for your children. Pastor Angie told us last week that you are enough for your children. And if you show them that you are human, they will come to you with the challenges that they're facing in life. And what could the challenges be? Very simple. They want to befriend a group of, children, and they don't know how to fit in. It could be as simple as that. They want to impress the teacher. These are things you and I have gone through. What do you think about that, Pauline?
Very, very true, by the way. It could be just that acceptance in a group of friends, or having a friend, or being able to, as you're saying, actually, the teachers have a lot of influence on them. If the teacher likes them, that's really lifts their spirits and they feel they belong. Having peace in our homes where a child can be safe, and where they know that whatever mistakes that are done, that will not lead to rejection, because it's the mistake you're correcting, not really, but you still accept the child and love them, but you correct the mistakes.
It's all about learning. I mean, I loved when you said that the ability to navigate the very challenging stage of life that they're in, because this is teenage stage. All the hormones are going crazy. And in the power of vision, you are actually looking at a vision that creates direction. A vision creates boundaries. You mentioned about a vision creating boundaries. I think I wrote that down. Yes, it does.
Yes.
And you alluded it to a company where there is a vision for a company. You know, we've all had experience where companies are about the vision, the mission, and the actions that they're going to take. So we are coming back to this vision and the power of vision for these children and why it is important. I really would like you to break it down for us. Why is it important? We've seen the statistics. Yeah. We've understood that we are the ones who have to fill their cups, because also the world is filling their cups. We have to be able to touch their lives. But then they could go through life copy and pasting my life, and they may look at me and say, but mom has a good life. So why is it so important that you have your own power vision? And I can see the stream is actually coming in now. We've got Kavi saying, we tend to think if we speak of our challenges, we are weak. Isn't that true, Pauline?
Oh, yes, yes, very, very true, yes.
As parents, we tend to think
and I think it's always good for us to just speak it, and have trusted people who will not judge us.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Yes. So moving on, because you know I'm still so distressed about those statistics, and I am distressed with the fact that our children are out there feeling that nobody cares, but there are children out there who are feeling that somebody does care, and there's a parent out there who has shared a vision. Maybe they didn't call it vision, you know, they've just given their children direction. You know, maybe they didn't use the word vision for it. We've got Rose and Jerry who has joined us. Rose, we would love to hear from you exactly what you have done with your children, if you have any, or not only your only biological children. As Pauline has said, these are all children. So what is it that you have done to impact them? As we move on to Pauline telling us, why is it so important? This vision, why is it so important? Pauline, tell us why.
Thank you, Lucy, and thank you, our listeners. Maybe I'll just start by saying, Lucy, that that verse that we started with, the Proverbs 29, verse 18, which says that where there is no vision, the people perish. In the old King James Version, if you check the Bible version, the old King James, this is actually how it states it. Where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint. And that's very interesting. That means where there is no vision, then people throw off the boundaries in their lives, and therefore you have nothing to guide you through life because you've cast off restraint. You've basically torn off the boundaries, and therefore anything goes. And I believe that is what leads to the perishing. So for a child, I want you to imagine now, maybe we are all driving. Let me give an example of the Thika superhighway. If we are driving on that superhighway, let's assume that is now represents our life. So these children. Now, I want you to see how important the vision is for a child. Supposing you're driving on the Thika superhighway. The Thika superhighway, Lucy, by the way, did you know it's so wide? In some places, it has 12 lanes. In most places, it has 8. Some places, it's 12 lanes. Yes. So there are so many lanes and there are so many exits. I don't know the number. Maybe I need to check that. And one of the things you need to realize is that all the lanes and all the exits are good, but not all of them are the right ones for you if you're driving on that highway. Okay,
very
so
true.
Now, before you even hit the highway, you need to then know your destination. So a vision is just your desired destination. That is just basically what a vision is. What is my desired destination? And so when I know my desired destination as I hit the highway, then my destination will guide me which lane to take, which exit to take, so that I'm able to get to my destination. But can you imagine if I hit the highway? I have no idea what my destination is. I don't know whether it's Thika, whether it's which along Thika highway, and so I just want to drive. So I hit the highway. I am driving. I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea which lane to take. I have no idea which exit to take. So I am likely to test all the exits. If I come across exit 1, it looks nice. I say, let me get in here and see how it looks. I get inside there. It doesn't look very nice. I go back to the highway. I take exit 5, because I am just, as you said, a ship that is just floating around in the water with no direction.
Yes.
And so you will be lost. And the other thing, you're even likely to cause a very bad accident on the highway, because you'll be crisscrossing the lanes. You don't know which one is you want to exit, but you're on the other side of the highway. And so you have to cross over. So, and the other thing I like, Lucy, when we talk about our desired destination, you don't have to know exactly how to get there. If I hit the highway, and I know that I'm going to Safari Park, for example, I don't really need to know in advance the exit number that will take me to Safari Park. Why? Because the highway has very clear instructions. So as I am driving, and I'm even like 1 kilometer before the exit, I will see the instructions on the highway, and the instructions will tell me, if you're going to Safari Park, it's exit number this, and you need now to change lanes. So I will just follow the instructions, and I'll get to Safari Park, for example. Now, that is the same with our lives. If you have this desired, or if a child has this desired, you've created a desired destination for your child. They may not know exactly how they'll get there, but along the way, God will provide people, God will provide instructions, God will provide wisdom for them to get to their the desired destination. So basically what we are saying with our children, let's create this desired destination with them. Sit with them. Any child you meet, sit with them and ask them. Find out from them, do they even have a vision? What do they desire in life? Because if they really have no desire, as you said, they'll be following what are my friends saying? Do that.
Yes.
Then they're told, let's go and take some drugs. It's a lot of fun. Let's go for this party. As long as it's fun, this child will go along. But a child who has a vision and knows, I am going to Safari Park, they will not take exit 5, which will lead them somewhere else. They'll say, that doesn't seem to be in line with my desired vision. So a vision, Lucy, gives this child direction, and it guides them. It gives them a direction of where they are going, what they want to become in life. If they're in primary school, what secondary school do they want to go to? Show them that secondary school. Tell them, for you to get to this secondary school, you have to get this kind of maths. How do you get this maths? Sit with them, even make an arrangement with their teacher to guide them how they're going to get to that vision. If they're in secondary, guide them. What course do you want to do in campus? If this is what you want to do, this is what you need to do to prepare so that you get to your vision. And so this child will get the mentality of, I am going to this national school. They'll start behaving that way. If they're in secondary, they'll start behaving like somebody who is already doing engineering in the university. So you have guided their way of thinking. Yeah.
Wow. So a vision is like a mental image of your desired life.
Yes.
A mental image of your desired life. Well, for the audience, the question today was, how are you steering your children? And we have posted it there in the beginning. And I do hope that you'll have time to engage with us. How are you steering your children? Pauline has given us a great analogy, and she's used a thicker superhighway. I love the fact that it is very relatable. And she's got the lanes she's talking about and the exits that she's talking about. It's so true. If you don't know where you're going, you will take any exit. So we need to start knowing where we're going. And therefore, with our children, we need to help them create. Pauline said that, and I thought, during my time, my parents were already deciding for me, well, who I should become. I do not remember, God rest their souls in peace, I don't remember them asking me, what would you like to do? I don't remember that. Now, you see, the times are different now, and there's more dialogue in our homes and not dictatorship. So we want to be able to use this time while we're at home with our children and have a conversation. Speak about, oh, I love the way you talked about the vision and companies and how it is important. So what is your vision? What would you like to do? I remember once when I said to my parents that I would love to act on the stage and be part of a band. I think when I made that statement, they decided she doesn't know what she wants, because they never asked me, what do I want? They decided for me what I wanted. And at the end of the day, the vision that they could have created with me was not formed at that time. It was until I came into the working environment that I decided to be able to put this to practice in my life, and my life changed. So the question was, why is the vision important for our children? And I see we've been joined by Jenny. Jenny Karibusana, the question today is all about the power of vision. How are you steering your children? Because we're in the season of empowering our children, Jenny, and I do hope that you can drop in some nuggets. Alicia, oh, my daughter has joined me. Oh, dear me. She's now perhaps going to tell the truth as it is, that perhaps things on the ground are very different. Nice to see you, Alicia. Nice to see you. Thank you for supporting. So why is the vision important? And Pauline, you have talked about knowing your desired destination. It will guide you onto which lane or exit to take. And therefore, as we guide our children through this and creating a vision, they then know that this particular exit means I will end up at Safari Park. Do I want to end up at Safari Park? So as a parent, as we are creating this vision with our children, these are things that should come to mind. I also loved the fact, and I hope people are taking down notes. I love the fact that you said, literally, you're on this highway, but you don't know which exits to take to get to your destination, but you know your desired destination. You have a mental image of your desired destination. So what are you going to do? You are going to look up on those green boards that gives you instruction. If you are going to Ruiru, you take exit this, start changing lanes now. Those are instructions that you need to follow if you want to reach your desired destination. Pauline, I must throw this in for a moment there. One of the things that I train when I'm taking people through the awakening self is that you have your desired destination, or you have your desired vision or your desired passion. So things happen in two places. They either happen in your head, they happen in your head and they happen in reality. So when you have a mental vision of your life, you have it, a mental vision, you're able to apply it. Because then once it's in your head and you put it down, it begins to get alive. And we may find that once we are on the trip, this idea snowballs. It makes us a better person, either through success or through failure. Because success is going to affirm to us that we were on the right path. Failure is not going to say that we quit. Failure allows you and me to come back on that pedestal and get to success. We learn the mistakes that we did. Oh dear me.
And Lucy, can I add just one thing about the highway?
Time is running out.
Sorry, let me just add one thing because I think it's important. You may still know your destination when you're on this Thika Superhighway, but still get lost. But when you know the destination, it's very easy to pull to a petrol station and ask them for direction how to get back to the highway, back to where you are going. But if you don't know where you're going, even if you go to ask for directions, the instructions you're saying, somebody will ask you, where are you going? So even if a child or gets lost, it's very
Yes.
easy for them to come back to the correct lane once they know they had that vision of where they want to go.
I'm loving it. Thank you so much, Pauline. So if I get lost, I can actually just
Yes.
pull into a gas station, whatever gas
Yes.
station will be in my life. So is that gas station, maybe I'm going to Shosho, and Shosho will be
Yes.
able to guide me back.
I
Whether
like
there's a teacher that I really trust that I would go to and they would guide me back. Or it's my parents, and my parents may not be fully equipped to help me, and maybe they will take me to groups of mentorship or to counseling. Oh, I'm loving it, because getting lost and failing in life is an option, guys. It is an option, because that is what we're going to use to grow. Karibu sana, Barbara. Good to see you here, and you say nice discussion. The question today had been about how are you steering your children towards the power of vision. Unfortunately, we are coming to the end. In fact, we've got a few minutes to go, and I don't want to lose out on the nuggets. On Tuesday Talks at 3, we always give out nuggets, and I'm going to ask Pauline to give us nuggets. However, I'm just going to give you a recap where she was explaining to us about the power of vision and how important it is. And then she went into the benefits and the challenges and gave us some very distressing statistics. And therefore, we saw as parents where our duty is needed. We need to be there for our children. Even if we're not equipped to do so, we can always seek help. These children are ours. And then she explained it very well on the Thika Highway. I don't think there's a better analogy, Pauline, that you could have used. So 3 takeaways, because now we need to wrap up. So 3 takeaways that you could give us that we could use, Pauline.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you to our listeners. So 3 takeaways. The first one is a personal vision sets boundaries. So when it's a personal vision has a way of setting wonderful boundaries for us, and our efforts are directed in the right direction. So many times we are tempted to do things that divert us from our goals and our experiments, but if we have a personal vision, it will guide that child to where they are going. And we've said even if they get lost, they'll be able to come back to their direction. Number 2, a personal vision gives you focus. So it will help this child to focus on their goals and give them a direction towards their life goals. What is their desired goal? What is their desired life? And number 3, Lucy, is that a personal vision will help this child avoid detours and distractions, which can lead to potential hazards.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. So as we've said from the King James Version, without a vision or revelation, people cast off restraints. So a vision will put restraints, wonderful restraints on the children, on us in our lives, and the restraints are the boundaries we are talking about.
Wow. And there was something you said in the beginning where you said many of the consequences of errors made during the teenage age, they last a lifetime. So these detours and distractions that lead to potential hazards, they could be lifelong. So we don't want our children to be in a situation where they just live a hopeless life where they think they can never make it. We want them to know that life is very exciting. They need to enjoy the journey, and there will be ups and downs. But in all that, they must have a vision, a desired vision. There must be something that they want to do, and they go for it. Well, thank you, Pauline. Clearly, without a vision, you're like a rudderless ship. The winds and the waves will take you where they will, or worse still, you will fall for anything. So indeed, Pauline, let us join hands in empowering all children who are within our reach, like what I was pointing out to Rose Jerry, all children. Thank you so much, Pauline, for your time and for walking us through this very sober thing of the power of vision. Asante sana for joining us.
Thank you, Lucy. My pleasure. And thank you to our listeners.
Asante. So next week, we look at the spiritual empowerment of our children. Is it important? And how can we strike a balance? In the meantime, I say kindly like our page for an opportunity to know what it is that is happening here at Tuesday Talks at 3. And if you would love to be a guest on our show, please feel free to direct message me. Like I said, we've got a few sessions going on this April. Maybe you want to be part of them. This Saturday, we are going to be having a masterclass on core values. And if people do not live through their core values, via their core values, by their core values, they feel they're not aligned. This is because you've never identified your core values. We will be able to help you identify them and then apply them in your behavior, and the outcome will end up being that you know who you are. Thank you so much. And until next week, be kind to yourself. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.